What's going on, everybody? J-Hal here with another monk build for you, and this one's going to revolve around Tempest Rush, and it's going to be a cold build. We're going to go over the skills for you, and then we'll go ahead and recap those, let you know how it's all going to work together. We're going to go over a few very key pieces of gear that you're going to need to make this the most efficient build you can. And we'll go ahead and go over the Paragon points. I'll show you some gameplay and show you guys this in action so you guys got an idea on how it's going to work. Now, for these skills, you're going to use Exploding Palm with Impending Doom, Tempest Rush with Flurry, Mantra of Healing with Circular Breathing, Mystic Ally with Air Ally, Epiphany with Desert Shroud, Sweeping Wind with Inner Storm, and then for your passives, Unity, Momentum, Beacon of Etar, and Harmony. Now, Exploding Palm is one that we should probably get to second because your main attack is going to be Tempest Rush with Flurry. Now, this is a channeling skill, and you're going to see that the damage of the explosion, which it's going to happen when you stop, it increases by 150% weapon damage as cold while you're channeling. So the idea is here to run around with Tempest Rush, and the minute you stop, there's an explosion. So the main thing there is there's going to be a little trick that you're going to use to Exploding Palm in the sense that you're going to use this, and then to interrupt this, or basically drop your Tempest Rush stacks to apply, you're going to go ahead and hit it with Impending Doom. With the Exploding Palm to be able to get that and chain it together. There's a split-second delay with Tempest Rush when it explodes to where when you hit an Exploding Palm, you're going to be able to apply that right as that thing explodes, and you'll be able to chain that together. And I'll show you how that works in gameplay. Now, Mantra of Healing with Circular Breathing. Now, we're going with this simply because the passive here, Mantra of Healing, also regenerates 3 spirit per second. Now, I've seen a couple of different builds out there to where you use Epiphany. You got to have a certain amount of cooldown reduction, and people are struggling to get their spirit regeneration or keep their spirit up. We're going to show you how this actually works together. Now, if you do find after you get all this together that you don't need that, you can certainly go any number of direction. You can go with Mantra of Conviction with Annihilation to be able to go from mob to mob a little bit quicker. Anything that might work for you to get through those greater rifts faster, whatever works for you. Mystic Ally with Air Ally, and here in the passive you're also going to see a Mystic Ally fights by your side that increases your spirit regeneration by 4. Now you actually see we have 2, and that's because an item over here that we will go over in just a second. Epiphany with Desert Shroud, this is one you're definitely going to want to hold on to. You're going to see Infuse Yourself with Sand, reducing damage taken by 50%. Now, the better part about this is that it increases your spirit regeneration per second by 20. So you get a nice effect with Epiphany there. It's on a 1-second cooldown. Having a little bit of cooldown reduction is going to bring this around quite a bit. So it's very nice to have that 50% damage reduction plus the spirit regeneration is a major bonus. Now here's another one that, again, if you find yourself and you're looking to swap out a skill or two to be able to, maximize your damage, that's fine. This is going to help your spirit regeneration as well. With Inner Storm, as long as your Vortex is at 3 or more stacks, you gain 8 spirit per second. It's going to stay up quite a bit, so you're going to get that spirit regeneration quite a bit when you're in there doing damage. So that is a nice one to have. Now, if you wanted to go with something else, you could easily go with Blinding Flash, Faith in the Light. And this is another thing. If you wanted to swap out Exploding Palm, you could go with this as well. Use this as kind of an interrupter. When you do stop, you can simply click this or hit whatever button. You deal 29% increased damage for 3 seconds after using it. So you could essentially use that and then use that as your interrupting skill, and it's going to do 29% increased damage. So it's going to depend on how you want to go there. This seems to kind of be the most efficient in terms of applying damage and keeping your spirit up while also maintaining a certain amount of toughness. Now for the passives, Unity. Each ally affected by your mantra or your mantras increases your damage by 5% up to a maximum of 20%. Now the main thing to keep in mind here is that you have two allies here, Mystic Allies, plus you have your Templar. That actually applies that damage buff there, so it's a good thing to have on there. Now here's something that you will probably swap out in a Greater Rift, but if you're in Torment 6, Momentum, moving 25 yards increases your damage by 20% for 6 seconds, and as you can see, there's the damage buff, and now we have that. And the fact that you're going to be using Tempest Rush as a channeling skill, you're actually pretty much going to keep that permanently buffed. So you're basically going to have a permanent 20% increase there. So if you did need to swap that out for something, if you're going into a Greater Rift, 6 sets is a great way to go. Reduces all non-physical damage taken by 25%. That's almost a must when you get into higher Greater Rifts, so keep that in mind. Beacon of Etar to get your cooldown back. That's mainly going to apply for your Epiphany there. Harmony, this is more for your resistances to increase your toughness. It's a very good thing to have around there. So that's the skills, and as you can see, it's all going to work together. And like I said, just stick around for some gameplay, and I'll show you how you can effectively use the Tempest Rush with Exploding Palm, while simultaneously being able to keep your spirit up pretty much permanently. Now for the gear, two very important pieces that are not sets here. The crudest boots you'll see in the secondary. Mystic Ally summons 2 Mystic Allies that fight by your side. So that's very important for your spirit regeneration and for your unity. Your overall damage, it's just a very good item to have to make this work. The other very key important piece is the Hexing Pants of Mr. Yawn. You'll see in the secondary your resource generation and damage is increased by 25% while moving. So you're going to see an instant damage increase there. That's a very important thing, plus your spirit regeneration comes up, which also effectively helps this work. So you have your Hexing Pants, you have your Sweeping Wind, you have your Mystic Allies, you have your mantra up, and your spirit is going to be just fine, I promise you, as long as you use this the right way. So keeping that in mind, having the Hexing Pants, you get that going, that's very, very nice. Now, this is a furnace that is just kind of rolled over. It's not the greatest one, but it does work, especially against elites. Now, if you don't have this, you can simply use the War Staff. I believe that's the Quang War Staff. I'm not sure how to pronounce that properly, but we're going to say that's right. If you don't have that, or you're looking to get a strong two-hander right off the bat, keep in mind that you can go over here and craft a Sunder and hopefully get an Ancient one. And that's a good thing to keep in mind with the new patch, that you can craft Ancient items as well. So if you don't have a Furnace or a War Staff, you can simply run over here and craft yourself a Sunder and hopefully get a nice Ancient roll out of that. So keep that in mind. If you have an old Flying Dragon, certainly you can use that as well, although it's not going to be as effective. Now this is a Sunwuko build, so keep that in mind as well. We're going to be using the Shoulders, Gloves, and Amulet, and you'll see there in the 2-set bonus all those skills with Tempest Rush in there. On the 2-piece bonus, it's going to cause a decoy to spawn that taunts nearby enemies and then explodes for 1000% weapon damage. And if you look in there, you can actually see that guy spawning every so often, and he explodes, and that's pretty much how you're going to proc that. And then the 4-piece bonus, which is another bonus. When that decoy explodes, you actually gain a buff that increases your damage of your Tempest Rush by 500%. Now keep in mind this also does work for Exploding Palm, so you'll also get the damage bonus there. But your main obviously is going to be Tempest Rush because that's going to be your main attack. So you get that 500% bonus for 3 seconds, and the fact that that guy spawns so often, you pretty much have a permanent buff there. So that is very, very important to keep in mind. Now, you can run different items here. However, we're running the Inna set with the belt, chest, and helmet. Now, we're doing that because it adds a great defensive structure to this, to where we get the base effect of all mantras. Our spirit regeneration is up. It's just a very nice thing to keep around. It allows us to run Sweeping Wind effectively to be able to cast that because of the reduction there. Just very important to keep that in mind, that you can swap this out maybe for an Hilds, or if you decide you want to go with the Laws of Seth. I think that's the one with Blinding Light's going to increase. So if you decide to swap that out for Blinding Light, or Blinding Flash, I should say, Faith in the Light, you could certainly run with that to be able to get your spirit back very quickly, as well as effectively do damage. So you can go with a couple of different options there. I'm going to leave that up to you. For the bracers, we're running Reaper's Wraps, and again, you can probably run with something different here because we're going to be doing just fine with our spirit. But in case you do find that you are running low, hop over there, grab a health globe, keep that going. Now for your rings, the Ring of Royal Grandeur is very important. You can use this to get the 4-piece bonus of the Sunwuko and the Inna's set there. Now we have a Taeguk in here, and I have the wrong one in here. I don't have one that I have leveled up. It's somewhere over there. But it's very important to keep that in mind. A Taeguk works amazing for this because you are channeling and you are going to stack that up. So all this is working together to where you have momentum, you have Taeguks, you have Tempest Rush going. And as you channel this and your Hexing Pants, you are just boosting your damage significantly by having all that going simultaneously. So keep that in mind. For your other ring, running with a Unity is very important. Having one on your follower works very well as well, so that this does reduce some of the damage that you take. The other thing to keep in mind, Bane of the Trapped is very important because you gain an aura that reduces movement speed of enemies around you, and coincidentally, the first part of that increases the damage of enemies under the effects of control and brain effects. So you get that extra increased damage there. So you can see how there's just great synergy in all this to be able to work together, keep channeling, buff up all your damage with the pants, with the Taeguks, with the Bane of the Trap, with momentum, everything going on here creates this amazing synergy to make this build really work. Now, if you're running group play, you can certainly run a Stone of Jordan or any other ring there. So keep that in mind. For your Paragon points, max movement speed in conjunction with your gear, very important. Everything else is going into dexterity. For your offense, cooldown reduction is good. To be able to get Epiphany back around, having that damage reduction is very nice. Crit hit damage, then crit hit chance. You could effectively use attack speed if you're not having spirit issues, but we're using a two-hander for a reason, so that we don't deplete ourselves of spirit. If you do find that you're doing okay and you want to run that, maybe you can get some more damage out of that. Resist all, armor, and then life regen, although you can certainly go with life instead of life regen. I'm going to leave that up to you. Life on hit, very important. Resource cost reduction, and then area damage. So that is the skills, that is the gear, and that is how it all works together. And I'm going to show you guys now in some gameplay so you can see how all this is going to work and how you can effectively use this. Torment 6 is pretty much a joke. You can run through there pretty simply. So we'll go over that here in a second. If you are cutting off here and you just wanted to check out all the stuff previously, thank you for watching. If this does work for you, or you like the video, feel free to hit the like button or comment below and let me know what you think of the video as well. If you haven't subscribed, be sure and do that now, because there will be several more Diablo videos coming up for all classes. So if you want to stick around for that, please do that now. And if you are sticking around, let's get to the gameplay portion so I can show you guys this in action. So we're going to run in here to Torment 6, Halls of Agony level 3. And yes, this is Torment 6, so you're going to see that this isn't going to take too much of an effort. Now, the one thing to keep in mind, because we're going to manage our spirit, fairly well with all the different skills, you don't have to do this anymore. You can pretty much cast Tempest Rush at all times to be able to build up the stacks at the bottom. So keep that in mind as you're running through there. And as you can see, you can pretty much run in a group, and then I have the Exploding Palm on my left click, so all you got to do is hit the shift button and then left click in there, and you can see the huge explosion and everything go. Whenever you need spirit, you just hit Spirit Ally and you are solid. We'll go ahead and run Epiphany in here. I don't like reflect damage, but we'll go ahead, and there you can see those guys, well, probably could have blown them up sooner. We had quite a few stacks going. Alright, so that's all it takes. All you got to do is keep your Tempest Rush up. Like I said, in Torment 6, you can pretty much run through these low-level guys, but if you get into a group and you just want to clear them out, simply do that. Hit your explosion from the Exploding Palm, and there you can see everything going down. Like I said, you're getting quite a bit of damage just from the Sunwuko explosion there, and we had quite a few stacks there. So like I said, getting in there, doing the damage, and just getting everything going is very, very easy. And hopefully this build is going to work for you guys. Here's an explosion that we will let go of, and you saw an 820 million crit in there. Very, very strong, and that was without even using Exploding Palm or anything going on there. So hopefully this helped you guys. Like I said, if you like the build, if you like the video, feel free to hit that like button below. And if you plan on using it, or you got something to say about it, feel free to leave a comment below as well. See what you guys got going on. And like I said, if you haven't subscribed already, there's going to be a lot more Diablo class build videos. There's already quite a few on the channel for patch 2.1.2, so be sure and check those out if you want. As always, guys, I appreciate you watching. Happy hunting. We'll see you next time.